Hi, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, from wherever you are. I already post the links of the sutra that we will talk about today, so you can have a look first. And as usual, I have to, put the link for the Thai people to come and watch it with us. So it's gonna take 1 minute. Okay. So already post for Thai people to watch it too. Okay. Before we begin, let me pay respect to the triple gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha first. นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังธัมมังสังฆังศิรสานะมามิสาธุ Hello everyone. Hi Gita Brown. Hi Spook Waters. Hi Pumika. Hi John. Stacy, Douglas, Sue, and Louisa. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hi, Asha. Right? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Today, I have the sutta for you all. It's from Majjhima Nikaya, number 135. In Pali, we call Jula Kamma Vipangka Sutra. Vipangka is like the like explanation, like a long explanation. Jula is like the small one, the shorter one. Kamma is about action. So in English, you can look up in the link that I provide you. In English, from the Bhikkhu Poti, he translate and use the word, the shorter exposition of action, or the analysis of kamma or the action. Okay, so it's quite long, but if we have more time, if we have some time left, I'm gonna talk about another sutra as well. So let's see. Here is from Majjhima Nikaya. So let's start. Hello, Jim McCarty, old friend. Good afternoon from Ireland. And hi, Amaranta. Okay, you can have a look at the link that I provide. This is called, oh, I forgot. I have this one too. The shorter exposition of action. Thus, I have heard on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Ananta Pintika's park. Then the Brahmin student Suphat, Toteyasan, went to the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side and asked the Blessed One, like when we study about the sutra, the discourse, and we often, read through this kind of statement that someone went to the Blessed One, went to the Buddha, and then first, before asking anything, exchanged greetings with him. With this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side and then asked. Normally, it's like the tradition. For the Buddha, the Blessed One, or someone who we look up to, they have to be on our right hand side. It's like the tradition, like the tradition. That's why when we place like the Buddha image, we have to put it on our right hand side, and then we sit on the left. Or for someone who has more vasa, ordained before you, then they have to sit on the right hand side. I'm not sure about like the Thai tradition or the Theravada tradition. I'm not sure about that, but we normally are taught for someone who pay respect, then you have to sit on our right hand side. So as in this sutra, Supha Tothaya son sat down at one side, which is on the left, and let the Buddha sit on the right, and then asked the Blessed One, Master Gotama, what is the cause and condition why human beings are seen to be inferior and superior? For people are seen to be short-lived and long-lived, sickly, not so healthy, and healthy, not very beautiful and beautiful, uninfluential and influential, poor and wealthy, low-born, like born in the low rank in the society, or high-born, or you were born in the high rank in the society. Someone who born as like not so wise and then wise or intelligent. So in this sutra, we're going to talk about why human beings are seen to be inferior and superior, about short-lived, health, about beauty, influential, poor, wealthy, low-born, high-born, not wise, regarding the wisdom. So we're going to focus about this as in the sutra. And then after the Supha asked the Buddha said, student, beings are owners of their actions, as of their actions. They originate from their actions, are bound to their actions, have their actions as their refuge. What does it mean? Like whatever we do, actions. In Pali word, we use the word kamma. Kamma, as in the name of this sutra. Kamma means actions, or the deeds or the actions that we do with intention. So whatever we do, we are the owner of the actions. Like we have to be responsible for it, something like that. So we are owners of our actions, of our actions. They originate from the actions, are bound to the actions, and have their actions as their refuge. As the monastic, we have to recite this every day. It is action, the Buddha said, it is action that distinguishes beings as inferior and superior. And then the Supha, Supha who asked the Buddha, he said, I do not understand in detail the meaning of Master Gotama's statement, which he spoke in brief without expounding the meaning in detail. It would be good if Master Gotama would teach me the Dhamma so that I might understand in detail the meaning of Master Gotama's statement. He said that if you talk in brief like this, I cannot understand. So please, it would be good if you can, explain in detail. And then the Buddha said, student, listen and attend closely to what I shall say. The Buddha said, here, student, some man or woman kills living beings and is murderous, bloody-handed, given to blows and violence, merciless to living beings. Because of performing and undertaking such action on the dissolution of the body after death, he reappears in a state of deprivation, in an unhappy destination, in perdition, even in hell, all the tukati, or the unhappy places, unhappy destination. But if on the dissolution of the body after death, he does not reappear in the state of deprivation, in an unhappy destination, in perdition, in hell, but instead come back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is short-lived. This is the way, student, that leads to short life. So the first one, the Buddha talked about if even man or woman, anybody kill living being and merciless to living beings, after death he might reappear in the bad destination, unhappy destination, or in Pali we use tukkati. However, if he comes back to human state, like if he after death reappear in the bad destination like in hell or in deprivation, if he comes back to the human state, he is going to be reborn as someone who is short-lived. This is the first one. However, on the contrary, student, some man or woman abandoning the killing of living beings, abstains from killing living beings, with rod and weapon laid aside, gentle and kindly, he abides compassionate to all living beings. After death, he reappears in a happy destination, even in the heavenly world. But if instead come back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is long-lived. This is the way that leads to long life. So the first one, the Buddha said, this is the way that leads to long life. So this is from the sutra. So, okay, we're gonna talk more and then discuss about it later. After that, the second question, the second topic, the Buddha said, some man or woman is given to injuring beings with a hand, with a cloth, with a stick, with a knife, injure someone. After death, he might reappear in a state of deprivation, in an unhappy destination, in perdition, even in hell. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is not healthy. He is sickly. This is the way that leads to sickliness or not so healthy. On the contrary, some man and woman is not given to injuring beings, does not like to injure other beings with a hand, with a cloth, with a stick, or with a knife, or with any weapons. On the dissolution of the body after death, he reappears in a happy destination or a heavenly world. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is healthy. So this is the way that leads to being healthy, by not given to injuring other beings. The third one, here, student, some man and woman is not of an angry and irritable character. Some man or woman is of an angry and irritable character. Even when criticized a little, he is offended, becomes angry, hostile, and resentful, and displays anger, hate, and bitterness. Because of performing and undertaking such action, after death, he reappears in a state of deprivation or in hell. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is not so good looking. This is the way that leads to ugliness, as the word, in the sutra. However, on the contrary, some man and woman is not of an angry and irritable character. Even when criticized a lot, he is not offended, does not become angry, hostile, and resentful, and does not display anger, hate, and bitterness. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a happy destination, in heavenly world. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is beautiful. This is the way that leads to beauty, to not have like anger, does not be angry or have like irritable character, does not display anger, hate, and bitterness. Next, some man or woman is envious, one who envies, resents, and begrudges the gains, honor, respect, reverence, salutations, and veneration received by others. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a state of deprivation in hell, in bad destination. But if instead he comes back to human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is uninfluential. So if you are, getting envious easily, then you know that maybe in the future gonna be reborn as someone uninfluential. On the contrary, some man or woman is not envious, who does not envy, resent, and begrudge the gains, honor, respect, reverence, salutation, and veneration received by others. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a happy destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is influential. So try to, not be envious. So the opposite of being envious is to have mudita, like happy with whatever other person receive. Like, oh, you gain a lot, you have like the honor, you have the respect, you have like all the good thing. It's good for you, something like that. So if you are not envious, then in the next life you can be someone influential. The Buddha said, this is the way that leads to being influential by not envious. Next, some man or woman does not give food, drink, clothing, carriages, or like a transportation, garlands, scents, ointments, beds, dwellings, and lamps, does not give things to recluse or Brahmins or monastics. Because of performing and undertaking such action by not giving things like that, he reappears in a state of deprivation, be reborn, reappear again in the bad destination or in hell. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is poor because he does not give things to the one who should, be given. This is the way that leads to poverty. Some man or woman who gives food, all the things, food, drink, clothing, transportation, garlands, scents, ointments, beds, dwellings, and lamps, like give lights, like candles, things like that, to the monastic, to the recluses or Brahmins. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he reappears in a good destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is wealthy because he gives a lot. This is the way that leads to wealth. Next, some man and woman is obstinate and arrogant. This is quite interesting. Obstinate and arrogant. He does not pay homage to one who should receive homage, does not rise up for one in whose presence he should rise up, does not offer a seat to one who deserves a seat, does not make way for one for whom he should make way, and does not honor, respect, revere, and venerate one who should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated. Because of performing and undertaking such action, he he reappears in a state of deprivation, be reborn again in the bad destination. But if instead he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn in the low rank in the society. Here in the sutra, Bhikkhu Venerable Poti, he used the word low born. This is the way that leads to low birth, be born in the low rank in the society. But on the contrary, some man and woman is not obstinate and arrogant. He pay homage to one who should receive homage, rises up for one in whose presence he should rise up, offers a seat to one who deserves a seat, makes way for one for whom he should make way, and honors, respects, reveres, and venerates one who should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated. Because of performing such action, he reappears in a happy destination. But if he's going to reborn as a human being, he's going to reborn as a highborn or be born in the high rank in the society. This is the way that leads to high birth. So if I'm not sure if you're familiar with these Pali phrases, Chattaro Dhamma Vatthanti Ayuvanno Sukhang Phalang, no? Something before that. There's like the Pali blessing that for someone who pay homage to someone who should be praised, who should be, like given homage to, then he's going to be reborn with the wealth, with the, health or something like that. Yeah. So it's the same thing. And the last one that the Buddha taught in this sutra, the Buddha said, "Here, student, some man or woman does not visit a recluse or a Brahmin or a monastic and ask, 'Venerable sir, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what is blamable, what is blameless, what should be cultivated, what should not be cultivated, what kind of action will lead to harm and suffering for a long time, what kind of action will lead to welfare and happiness for a long time,' because of not paying a visit and not asking these questions, he after death he reappears in a state of deprivation or be reborn in the bad destination. But if you're going to come back as a human being, you're going to be someone who is not wise. So you might ask, like, if I don't ask these questions, why can I end up in a bad destination like in hell? If you don't go to to the monastic, to the recluse, to the Brahmin, and then ask, like, what is right, what is wrong, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what should I do, then you might not know what is good, what is bad, and then you can lead the bad direction. You can do something bad without knowing that you're gonna that is the wrong path or something like that. So because of I'm not going to ask this question and lead the wrong path in life, then eventually you're going to do all those bad things and end up in the bad destination. That's why. On the contrary, if you pay a visit to a recluse, a Brahmin, and then ask this question, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what is good, what is bad, what should I cultivate, what should I not cultivate, what's going to lead to suffering for eternity, what's going to lead to the happiness for a long time, because of asking this question, he reappears in a happy destination. And if he comes back to the human state, then wherever he is reborn, he is wise. And this is the way that leads to wisdom. Why? Because when you go to see, the monastic, and then you ask this question, then you know what is right, what is wrong. And then you can choose to live a good life, the safe life, and by cultivating all the wholesome qualities, and then you can be reborn in the good places, good destination. And then after talking about all these topics, the Buddha conclude that beings are owners of their actions, as of their actions they originate from their actions, are bound to their actions, have their actions as their refuge. It is action that distinguishes beings as inferior and superior. After that, when this was said, the Brahmin student Supha, Toteya's son, said to the Blessed One, "Magnificent Master Gotama, magnificent. Master Gotama has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he were turning upright what had been overturned, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. I go to Master Gotama for refuge, and to the Dhamma and to the Sangha of Bhikkhu. Let Master Gotama remember me as a lay follower who has gone to him for refuge for life." And this is the Sutta number 135. We're going to talk about the this is the shorter exposition of action of the Dhamma. Talking about this, it is actually interesting for me, because normally when we talk about the action and the consequences of the action, someone who live like the eastern part of the world might be interested in this kind of topic, because I've been told that for the Westerner does not really interested in like the karma or the actions or vipaka, the consequences of the action, like you can be reborn as this if you do this thing, blah blah blah. So I was a bit puzzled to hear that Vivian asked me to give a Dhamma talk in this topic, which is quite interesting for you to want to know about this. It is indeed a good sutra, but normally we're gonna talk about this more for the like someone like in Thailand, they love to study about the kamma or the actions and the vipaka in Pali, or the consequences. And actually I have another one for you as well. Hi. And then after this we're gonna ask, right? Because I'm afraid I'm afraid that I might not finish in time. Now we have read through all the sutra from the shorter exposition of actions, but it might not cover all of the aspects. There are another sutra that cover all. It's called the Great Exposition of Karma. The next sutra, MN 136. This is like the very, very long sutra. You can just click from the link that I provide you. You can read the long analysis. The first one is going to be like the lay people talk to one of the monk, and then the monk talk to Ananta Thera, and then Ananta Thera talk to the Buddha, and then it's very long, but I'm going to show you what is very interesting from this sutra. It's from the Great Exposition of Karma. In this sutra, the Buddha said, you can read it in detail, but now I'm going to summarize for you. There are 4 types of people. Someone who do good deeds, good actions, and then be reborn, reappear again in heaven. Yes, that's what we learn. Yeah, do good deeds and then be reborn in heaven. Or someone who do good deeds but still be reborn in hell or in bad destination. Another person who do bad deeds, he's gonna be reborn in hell. Yeah, that's usual, like that's normal, that's what we have heard. But there is a case, there is another group of people who do all the bad deeds, but after that, he's gonna be reborn in heaven. So this is interesting, right? So what is the factor? What is the cause? What is the condition for people who be born in the good destination or bad destination? In this sutra, the Buddha said, good or bad actions, there are many, probably more factors than this. But here the Buddha said actions that were done earlier in life, later in life, or at the time of his death, gonna, determine like where gonna be born in the next life. You might have, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure that you have listened to this or not, but in Dhammapada, there's one monk who, do all the good deeds in his life, be the monastic and do a lot of good things. But when he received the new robe from his sister, I think, got the new robe, and then he just, like, oh, I love this robe so much. I'm gonna wear it tomorrow. And all his heart put on, this robe. Oh, I love it so much. And that night, he passed away. So he passed away and then reborn as a flea, a tick, a flea, the small thing, tick or flea, and live in, stay in the robe. And when, after he passed away, right, all the monks like, oh, this is like the new robe, haven't used yet. So maybe we can, cut and then separate and then like give, to many monks as a dana, something like that. And then the Buddha said, no, you should not do this. You should wait for 7 days. And on the 8th day, then you can, share the robe with all of you. And then people ask like, why cannot I share the robe today? And the Buddha said, because that monk who practiced a lot, he reborn as a flea or a tick and stays, in the with the robe. And people are like, oh, why that monk be reborn as a tick, considered as a bad destination and live with the robe? Because the Buddha said, because his mind, oh, I like this one, I'm gonna wear it tomorrow, and then he passed away. So the deeds, the intention before his death stay with the robe, so he reborn, stay with the robe. So the Buddha said, if you share the robe now, the tick or the flea gonna be so mad, and because it's mad at you, angry at you, so gonna be reborn again in hell. So you should wait for 7 days. After 7 days, this tick, this flea, gonna die, and when die, gonna be reborn in the heaven, to Sutta heaven, because of the good actions that he did in the previous life. So we should wait for 7 days, something like that. This is from the story from the Dhammapada. So this is why we have to talk about this sutra as well, that it's not like you do all the good deeds in your life, but the moment at the time before you die is very important as well. The Buddha said, there is a person who has killed living beings here, all the good thing, do all the bad thing, has had the wrong view. And on the dissolution of the body, after death, he reappears in the state of deprivation in an unhappy destination in hell. But perhaps the evil karma, the unwholesome things that he did, or the bad actions producing his suffering was done by him earlier or was done by him later in his life, or was done by him at the time of his death. And that was why on the dissolution of the body after death, he reappeared in an unhappy destination. But since he has killed living beings, he has the wrong view, he has done many bad things, he will feel the result of that here and now, or in his next rebirth, or in some subsequent existence. So the first group of people, he did all the bad things, had the wrong view, earlier, later, and at the time of his death. That's why he gonna be reappear again in an unhappy destination. Or if even though he's not, he's still alive, but all the bad thing that he's done, he will feel the result of bad things, bad consequences here and now. Here and now, and then next rebirth, and then the next, some subsequent existence. The second type of people, there is a person who has killed living beings here, has had the wrong view, and on the dissolution of the body after death, he reappears in a happy destination, in heaven. How come? Perhaps the good karma, the good actions producing his happiness was done by him earlier in his life, later in his life, or the right view was undertaken and completely completed by him at the time of his death. And that's why after death he reappeared in a happy destination. But since he has killed living beings here, has the wrong view now, he will feel the results of that here and now. Meaning, now that he's still alive, if he do bad thing, he gonna feel the result of it right at that moment. Or you can have, feel the result in the next rebirth. This, I can give you example. For example, I'm not sure it's from Dhammapada or another sutta, but there's someone someone who has no precepts, does not know about the precepts, about the moral conduct or anything like that. But before, they went into the boat, to travel to somewhere, and then the boat sunk. Before they die, the Bodhisattva, the wise one, gather people, and then you have to, take the precept, have the good intention, not killing, not stealing, not, have the sexual misconduct, things like that. Think about the good thing. Have the precept, have the right view now before you die. And that group of people, taking the precept, thinking about the good thing, and when they die, they reappear in heaven. So when they reappear in heaven and they're just like, oh, how come I end up here? So they think what did we do before we die? Oh, there's one person who is so wise, who, suggested us to, do all the good things before we die. So they come to thank that person later on. So this is from one of the story. It doesn't mean people who do all the bad thing gonna be, end up in the bad destination. That is a case there is some cases for people to do like that. But people can change even though, right before they die, they can change. And if they change in time, they're gonna reappear again in the good destination. The third type of people, there is the person who has abstained from killing living beings, has the right view, do all the right good things. After death, he reappears in a happy destination in a heavenly world. But perhaps a good karma, the good actions producing his happiness was done by him earlier in life, later, or at the time of his death. And that was why after death, he reappear in a happy destination. But since he has abstained from killing or do all the good things, good deeds, he will feel the result of that here and now, or in his next rebirth, or in some subsequent existence. So if you do good deeds, you're going to have the good outcome, good consequences. Now, next life, or other life. And the last type of group of people, there is the person who has abstained from killing, do all the good deeds, but after death, he reappeared in the bad destination. Why? Perhaps the evil karma producing his suffering was done by him earlier, later, or the wrong view, or like when you think about all the bad thing that you've done in the your life at the time of your death, then you'll be reborn in the bad destination, even though you make a lot of good merit, but before you die, you don't think of the good merit that you've done. You think of the bad thing that you've done. So you're going to be reborn in an unhappy destination. Talking about this group of people, I remember about พระนางมาริกา Malika the Queen. Have you heard Malika the Queen? Malika the Queen, she did a lot of good merit. She gave a lot of dana. But there's one incident that she did bad thing with the dog. Have you heard about her story? Because of some kilesa, some unwholesome qualities, she did bad thing with the dog, and then she lied to the king. All the good deeds in her life, she didn't think of it when she's gonna die. She thought about the bad thing that she did with the dog, and she thought about having lied to the king. So because of that, she reappeared in hell for 7 days. I cannot remember, maybe 7 days. And during that time, the king went to the Buddha like, oh, where are my queen now? I want to know which heaven did she go to, something like that. And then the Buddha, with the magic power, made the king forget why he came to the Buddha. So, when I went to the Buddha, and then I just cannot remember what I want to ask the Buddha. So he returned to his palace for 7 days. And for the 8th day, he came to the Buddha and asked, like, where is my queen now? And the Buddha said, she is now in the heaven. Why that the Buddha has to make the king forget? Because, the queen did a lot of good deeds. If people know that she reappeared in hell, they're gonna ask, like, what is the secret? What did she do wrong? Or, do good deeds and not go to heaven, then we should not do the good deeds, right? Because of that, the Buddha don't, made the king, the Buddha made the king forget the questions. So it's important to learn that even though you do all the good deeds, it's important as well that you think of the good things before you die. This is why in Thailand, I don't know in other countries, but in Thailand, the teachers always teach us that practice the death. What do you mean by that? That means we have to practice to face the death before that time comes, before the death comes to you. You have to practice like what I'm gonna, do before I die. For some people, like for me, I like Putto. Think about the Buddha, like Putto. Breathe in, breathe out, Putto. And if I have, if I don't know that time, but if I'm mindful enough, then Putto, and then maybe you'll be reborn in the good place. Because the actions that you've done a lot in your life, it's important as well. But the actions that you do before your death is important too. So it's, like, it's good to know about this, and it's good to practice facing the death before that time comes. Next. This is the last slide for today. This is from the Sutta called The Great Exposition of Karma. So you can learn about this later on. You can read it in detail in the link that I provided you. So I hope you like these two sutra that Vivian recommended that we should study, which is really, really good and very interesting as well. Something that we should discuss more is the kamma. Kamma is the action. Action, whatever you do with intention. You have to do with good intention, through speech, through, bodily action, through or even the mind. The mind is important because the mind, good intention is going to be like good speech, good actions. So it's important to learn about this. And it's important to learn that the actions earlier in life, later on in life, and at the time of the death is important. In Abhidhamma, they said like the mind before the death is, they say like it's like the thing that gonna determine like where to go. But for me, like all the actions equally important. You have to practice to be to have the wholesome qualities throughout, and be familiar with the good things, wholesome qualities. Try to abandon unwholesome qualities. And if something bad happened, just don't cling to it. Because if you cling to it and you think about it, I did that thing, it's like the bad thing, and I did that thing. And, if you think about it a lot, maybe you're going to think about it before you die, and it's like very dangerous. So bad thing happened. Okay, I admit that I did wrong. I did wrongly. I did the wrong things, right? But I try not to do that again. I learn from that lesson and cultivate more wholesome qualities. Think about the good things. Think about the Buddha, the Buddha, something like that. So it's like to practice facing the death before that time comes. I hope you like it, this sutra. Elena said, so interesting, thank you. Hi, Amarata. Hi, Kita Brown. She has a question. Ayya, if a person has unwholesome thought but does not act on it, does it still have consequences? It's not going to be bad consequences. This is like very good question. Normally, when you think like the bad thing, right? If you can contain it, like, this is unwholesome thought, and then you abandon it, that's fine. It's lesser degree than, from the mind and come through speech or come through bodily action, right? So it's still, I think, wow, this is interesting. The kamma actions is whatever you do with intention, right? it's still, I think it still have the consequence, because when you accumulate, when you accumulate it a lot, so one day it's gonna, burst into action, into speech, right? So it still have consequences that gonna lead to the wrong speech or wrong actions, bodily actions. So at least it's good that it's still, contained within the mind, but it's not good if you have it a lot. So you have to be mindful that, oh, the unwholesome thought arise. Oh, this is unwholesome. This is not good. Abandon it. Get rid of it. And think about and then embrace the wholesome qualities, wholesome thoughts instead. Mhm. About the precept, about the moral conducts. Sila. Sila is to prevent someone to do bad thing through speech and through bodily action. It's not to prevent you from bad thought, not prevent you from bad intention, but it prevents you from doing the bad speech and bad bodily actions. That is precepts, right? The first one, abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from sexual misconduct, abstain from telling lies, abstain from drinking alcohol or things that make you careless. C is about the speech, about the body actions. I don't know, about the physical things. But it cannot prevent you from thinking unwholesome thought, right? So to prevent you from thinking, like having the unwholesome qualities here in the mind, in the head, whatever, you have to use pavana. Pavana is to cultivate like the mindfulness, cultivate like the knowledge, the wisdom, or vipassana, to the meditation, something like that. That's how to control the unwholesome thought. That's why they have the word ศีล samadhi ปัญญา sila prevent you from do bad things through speech and through the body actions. Samadhi meditation help control the unwholesome qualities in the mind, and panya help control the unwholesome qualities in the mind as well, because you know like what is right and what is wrong, something like that. Hi, Mr. Akhilesh. Hi, Suth. The Ayya action here is a volitional action that is the result of ignorance, not knowing the Four Noble Truth in the dependent origination. You mean action here? Kamma, right? The result of ignorance. All the action that is the result of ignorance is like the bad action. You mean the bad action, right? Hang on. The actions that as the result of ignorance, not know about the Four Noble Truth, it's like the, how can I say it? Like as in the, like a avisha, right? That is the cause for all the bad or the unwholesome qualities, right? So the unwholesome thought, unwholesome speech, or things like that lead to the bad actions. But if you have the right wisdom, then you can have like the good actions. So action or kamma is like the volitional action, good or bad. So the good actions is not resulting from ignorance, but the bad actions resulting from ignorance. Amaranthas asked, Ayya, is wisdom the most valuable because it's connected with right vision? Wisdom, yes, is valuable, But how can I say? Yes, in some way, the wisdom is the most valuable. Yes, it is. The wisdom is, but the topmost, like the essence of the Buddha's teaching is the liberation, vimutti, liberation. To have the right liberation, or people say like awakening. But according to the sutra, the right liberation is like the topmost, like the top tier, But with the wisdom, with the right wisdom, you can reach the right liberation. So as you asked, is this the wisdom the most valuable? We have to do everything like in the Noble Eightfold Path, the right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. All the Noble Eightfold Path leading to right wisdom. And from the right wisdom, gonna lead you to right liberation, which is the essence of the Buddha's teaching. Yes. Stacy said, for me, kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity, Brahma Vihara, right? When inspected and developed stronger, this good action often arise. That is good. That's why it's called Brahma Vihara. Vihara, like things that the mind should, live with these four things: kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. That's good. That's good for you. Shayanta says Satu, Satu, Satu. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Gary, right? Kanokwan, Namaste. Tan asks, Ayya, when the unwholesome thought arise, I feel guilty and bad. How can I stop them from arising? Oh, you said here. I think you just answer. As long as we are not arahant, then it's gonna happen. It's gonna arise. But you just know that, oh, it's arise. And if you don't cling to it, oh, this is my bad, this is like my bad thought, just let it fade, just let it cease. So, you can think of it as the good thing that, oh, this is bad thinking, this is unwholesome thought. Oh, I have to practice more, to abandon it and just let it cease, let it fade away. It's normal. We cannot control the mind to think like the good thing all the time, 24 hours, right? It's impossible unless you are the arahant. So it's normal for us. It's normal for everyone, even the monastic. Sometimes, like, ooh, I want that. Ooh, this is good. Ooh, that looks yummy. So, that is not good thing. Okay, just let it cease away and don't cling on to it. Also, am I wrong? Then perhaps I thought volume. That is sankhara. Sankhara. That is namarupa. Sankhara paccaya. Hang on, let me find. Namarupa. Vinyanang. Vinyana paccaya namarupang. What do you mean? Sankhara. Oh, I see. Here is used. You mean the sankhara, right? So you mean the sankhara? Okay. The sankhara is not the same thing as we discussed here. With what we discussed here is just the kamma or the actions, but the sankhara is like the thing that I don't know in English, but the sankhara or the kamma formation here, we use the word kamma formation or the volitional action, right? it's gonna lead to nama rupa or the six sense bases. Shouldn't the dependent origination also happen with good karma as well as bad karma? Sankhara, there are three, right? As in the dependent origination, there are three. The good, the bad, sorry for the not so good translation, and the controlling the mind to, like meditation. In Thai, we use, why should I talk in Thai? There is the good karma, but it's not the good karma that according to the Noble Eightfold Path. Someone who do good thing but wanting, still, oh, I want to be born in the heaven, oh, I want to be born in the good place. And if you do that good deeds with the intention to be born again and again, that lead you, all this dependent origination. Then you're gonna be born again. Then you're gonna have the nama rupa, and then you're gonna have like the six sense bases and blah blah blah, and all the suffering gonna come because you do good deeds, and then I wish to be born in this heaven. Or someone do bad deeds and they don't wish to be reborn in the heaven, but they do good deeds because they do good deeds out of ignorance. So that's why they have, the dependent origination. Or the third one, when you meditate and then, oh, I want to be reborn in the Brahma realm. I want to be reborn, like higher state in the heavenly world or something like that. That make you reborn again. So it's all the dependent origination because of that sankhara. Yes. So if you're talking about it, yes. So the karma here, karma, if you do the good actions, good deeds, but not wanting to be reborn again. For example, if you follow the Noble Eightfold Path, that is the only way that leads you out of rebirth. So if you do good deeds, following the Noble Eightfold Path, that means you're not in the dependent origination. You try to the different path. That's one sutra the Buddha said, like, we are the heir to our actions, right? But the only way to no more rebirth, no more suffering, is to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. Yeah, once again, if you do good deeds by following the Noble Eightfold Path, that means you can get out of the samsara and no more dependent origination because no more avisha. But normally, if we don't reach the arahant, there's still avisha going on all the time. So sometimes, have that condition, but we should try to do all the good deeds with wisdom, follow the Noble Eightfold Path. That is the right thing to do. Yeah. Yeah, dependent origination also happen with good karma and bad karma. But good karma here, meaning you do good thing because you want to be reborn again as blah, blah, blah. Something like that. Stacy said, one thing I forgot the whole question, but Venerable Ayya, please can you expand on the question asked by those who are wise? What is this bringing long-lasting happiness? That thing. Hang on, I'm gonna show you this one. This question, right? If you go to ask the monastic, like, oh, What is good, what is bad, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what should be cultivated, what should not be cultivated, what kind of action will lead to suffering, what kind of action that lead you to long-lasting happiness. When asked, oh, what is that brings long-lasting happiness? Bringing to that thing that we talk about. If you want the long-lasting happiness, follow the Noble Eightfold Path. That is the only way. Like the rejoice arise. In the Four Noble Truth, right? The last one, the third in the Four Noble Truth, that is nirvana, nibbana, the awakening, the liberation of all the suffering, right? How we should follow the Noble Eightfold Path, or to summarize, Sila, Samadhi, Panya, precepts, moral conducts, concentration, and wisdom. You have to cultivate these three things. If you look closely into the Noble Eightfold Path, it's gonna, like the first one, the right view, is the wisdom, right? Second one, right thought. Right thought is, I don't remember. Yeah, the right thought, right speech, right action. All the eight things gonna, summarize as the Sila, Samadhi, Panya, precepts, concentration, and wisdom. So through this path, you're gonna reach the long-lasting happiness. The Buddha once said, Nippanang paramang sukhang. The Nibbana, the awakening, the right liberation, is the utmost happiness. How to reach there? Through the Noble Eightfold Path. The only way. Whatever you do, try to study the Noble Eightfold Path and follow it. Like for the monastic, for us in Nirodharam, the Prajaan always said, like, every day, before you go to bed, ask yourself, am I following the Noble Eightfold Path still? I will go out of the way. If you follow the path, eventually, sooner or later, you're going to reach the Nibbana. Not this life, next life, or anyway, even though how long, you're going to reach it. That is the most important, the Noble Eightfold Path. So, thank you for clear explanation. I'm not quite sure that I explained it well enough, but yeah, you can do good deeds that not contribute to the more birth by following the Noble Eightfold Path. So to summarize all these two sutras, the actions, we are responsible to our actions. So we should choose to do good deeds, but that good action should not be something like, oh, I'm gonna do good deeds because next life I want to be someone who is influential, because I want to be someone who is wise, because I want to be someone who is beautiful, or be reborn in the high rank in the society. You should not do this, because why? When reborn, then the suffering follows, sickness, aging, die, and we have to, like, be lamentation, be sorrowful, all the things gonna be happen because of the birth. So when you do good deeds, try to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. No more rebirth, no more. Just like when you aim so high, when you aim to the moon, even though you not reach the moon, then you can reach like the stars, something like that. Try to follow the Eight Noble Path. That is the only path for you to reach the right liberation and the supreme happiness. Okay, so no more question. I hope you all understand what I talk, and I hope you all can clearly hear me, because outside it's raining. Okay, so that's it for today. 10 minutes past already. So thank you very much. Thank you all for listening to the Dharma today, and thank you, Vivian, to suggest this beautiful sutra for us all to learn new thing. Thank you very much. Before we depart, let us say Sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, 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 Anumotami. May you all live peaceful, happy, and follow the noble eightfold path, and we all eventually gonna reach the supreme happiness, Nibbana. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Vivian, Douglas, Pamela, and Nathani as well. See you again next week. Goodbye. Have a good day.